Guys, my name's Nathan Rennie. I've been travelling the world for such a long time, and I haven't really seen something such as this in my life. There's been a couple of speculations on whether or not we saw what we saw, but we did actually see a Tasmanian tiger, which is otherwise called a thylacine. And I'm going to have to elaborate on this story a little bit. We were doing a charity ride across Australia, which is called Salt to Snow, which we rode from the lowest point of Australia to the highest point of Australia, which from Lake Eyre to Mount Kosciuszko. And obviously we were enjoying ourselves. It was 2,500 k's after we got lost a few times. That's a whole other story. But one of the most interesting things that we saw along our travels, like we're pretty worldly, and so we know what we can see, and dingoes, emus, platypuses. We're Australian, we know exactly what's going on. So there was this one morning when we woke up, we tried to do 100 k's a day, which on a bike isn't too bad, and so we were riding along. We were just trying to check our messages. We didn't really have any reception or whatever, but we still trucked on as you do. And so we saw an animal come from the salt bush, which there's a lot of salt bush out there in the desert, as you all know, and it was just process of elimination. It's not a dingo, it's not a not to be funny, but it's not a wombat, it's not a fox, it's not like a duck or a goose, and so the mind boggled a little bit there for a while. All three of us were riding at the time, and it was just, I was confused. I was really confused in what we were looking at.
So you'd never seen anything like that on your journeys before?
No, I mean, I've seen some plenty strange things. I mean, like being a mountain bike rider and such an experienced one, you see many different animals, you see many different things, you see many different snakes and whatever, lizards and cats and rabid dogs, and plenty of dead kangaroos and all that sort of stuff. But so
you've seen wild dogs?
Yeah, wild dogs. Yeah,
I've never seen wild dogs.
And so when we saw our character, which I am going to say, we saw a thylacine. We did. There's no other explanation for it, and we've had plenty of doubters about it. I mean, we're riding along, no-handed with our phones, just trying to, we were trying to document our journey. But like when you see something like this, we only had about 15 seconds to actually try and get it all together. And how phones are, they're very not complicated, but you're kind of fumbling. It's
especially when you're riding. So were you actually riding at the time, or had you just stopped?
No, we were riding at the time.
Right.
It was very, very early morning. Dingo's breakfast. You wake up, have a piss, and have a look around, and that was pretty much it. And so we saw a creature emerge from the salt bush. Then it walked along the road towards us, and then, like I said before, process of elimination. We just try to decipher what we were looking at, and then it had that funny run. It was like a canter almost, and then crossed over the road, and it just looked like it was not normal. Something and instantly in my head, it was like, that looks like a Tasmanian tiger. And I hadn't seen a picture of a Tasmanian tiger since I was in high school.
Yeah.
But still, that image still sits in your head.
Yeah.
As much as it is. And so, across the road, casually. And so we had a long time to think about this. And so,
how long did you see it for?
I think about 15 seconds.
Right.
So from the time it came from the salt bush towards us, across the road, and then over to the roadkill on the other side, you could see the snout, you could see the hind, You could see the thick tail. You could see the butt area, which is a larger area on that sort of, yeah. It's just what it is, and so it darted off, and all the crows were trying to eat the roadkill, but then as soon as the thylacine met where the roadkill was, all the crows just booked
so
it.
it's nothing new to the crows then.
No, they know that they were in trouble, so they just booked it straight out of there, and so yeah, so we pulled over. Everyone just locked the brakes up and like tried to find this creature, but where we were, there was like a it's not a causeway. There's another name for it, but like there was pipelines underneath.
Yeah.
And so we were looking on this side when I'm pretty sure the tiger or thylacine, whatever you want to call it, darted back underneath the pipeline, so it pretty much escaped from us.
Yeah, it's probably its routine when a car comes along.
Yeah.
It knows to do that.
Yeah, so we were on e-bikes, so we were pretty silent when we were approaching it, and like guaranteed, like that was exactly it, like what you just said, like we were incognito, and they try and be as incognito as possible, and so, but that's the thing. Like I spoke to Paul, like we were pretty close together, like I'm saying 4 meters, and he's like, "Oh, did you see that? Did you see that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And I was like, "Is it Tasmanian tiger?" And he said, "No, that's a thylacine." And at the time, I was just like, well, I didn't really know what a thylacine was.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Yeah, that's what it is. That's what a Tasmanian tiger is." And then Matt came along behind us. He wasn't too far behind us as well. "Did you see that?" And it was just like, yeah, like what the hell is that? And that's when we pulled up the brakes, and it was just like, we got to try and see this thing. But then, in the back of my mind, I was just like, I've seen this crazy creature, and I kind of didn't want to find it.
Yeah.
You know, because
then you have to rethink everything.
Yeah, like I don't want to confront this thing. Like all
Do you think it was a male?
I couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell.
I wasn't checking it out, but like it was. It was close enough, within 10 meters away.
You know their genitals are actually hidden in a pouch.
Yeah, because it's a
Weird.
It's a marsupial male, so well, a marsupial dog. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when they're like born, then it's kind of like a kangaroo, like marsupial.
Yeah.
So then they sit in the pouch and whatever. Once they get a little bit older, and then they have like a litter, and so then they try and disperse the litter out so the smell isn't there, because they're basically, well, I'm not going to say dinosaurs, but they're very ancient. So then that's when they get the roadkill, and so then they regurgitate back to the cubs, which are all spread out, because what I think that they've survived for so long because they're pretty switched on, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what we saw, and if anyone wants to, well, there's plenty of doubters out there, but
Don't worry about them.
dude, we know what
There's always doubters.
we know what we saw.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once you see something, people can tell you all they want that you haven't seen it.
Dude, it blew my mind. It absolutely changed the way I think about pretty much anyone that wants to make a statement.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, like, and from what I can piece together from like what my own research is the guy who had the last Tasmanian tiger. That was the selling point of his zoo.
Yeah.
It was like, come and see the last Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah.
And so once that died, then he said, "Oh, that's the last Tasmanian tiger, and they're all dead." Horse shit.
Yeah, they're not.
How the hell can you actually say that when Australia is so vast,
Yeah.
so hugely vast? Like
There's more camels than people. I've never seen a camel in the wild.
dude.
It's nuts.
Dude, there's more goats out there than anything else.
Yeah, right.
You know.
So what sort of terrain was it? Was it flat? Was it desert?
It was flat.
Grassland?
Mostly saltbush,
Right.
which is like kind of shrubs, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just outside the Flinders Ranges. So we were swagging it, you know. So we would just sleep wherever, and we had a support vehicle which we couldn't really contact because there was no reception out there, and like that was it, and we just tried to. The support vehicle eventually caught up to us, and we were like, we can't believe what we just seen, and that was it. And so, just
Did you get to tell your story to anyone that lived in the vicinity?
Yeah, we did.
Keep riding on. Yeah, you did.
No, we did. Yeah, we coincidentally we got to the next town. I think there was like a meteor thing going on there. There was like a festival or something like that, and then we pitched our sightings, and they actually said that there was more sightings in the area from other locals, but it didn't get documented on that, although I did put it on Facebook. And so a gentleman, Neil Waters, contacted us, and then we had an interview with him, and all the stuff that we described ticked all the boxes with that we saw a Tasmanian tiger. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to stand by it because there's no other logical answer.
Yeah, like I said, once you see something, you can't listen to people telling you didn't see it. You know in your mind.
Yeah.
You saw it.
Dude, we aren't stupid, man. We're not stupid. Like, that was...
No, it's just...
It was there.
People. Yeah,
It was
that close.
It was there. I'm saying 10 metres away. By the time it had come towards us and crossed the road, and then gone to its kill, or not its kill, but like a road kill, it was... Yeah, it just booked it out of there.
How big was it?
Well, I'm saying a medium-sized dog.
Right.
Like not a Great Dane, but
Like
somewhere...
Kelpie?
Oh, bigger than a Kelpie.
Bigger than a Kelpie.
Bigger than a Kelpie, smaller than a Great Dane.
Yeah, right.
But
That's
it
big.
was a large animal, and it also looked weathered as well, so age perhaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, like I kind of didn't want to find this animal, and so
This thing that doesn't exist.
this thing that apparently doesn't exist, but they are there.
Yeah.
They are there, man.
You're so lucky. I'm jealous.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't. That's why I've got it tattooed on my shoulder.
Yeah, just look your tat. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
No, as far as colouring goes, was it like light brown or dark brown? I know some of them don't have stripes.
Yeah, I think like from my research, like the mainland thylacenes don't have predominant stripes because they don't have the same background as they do.
Yeah, they're blending into something different.
Yeah, they blended into something different, but the same structure and being a marsupial, then they still look the same. They just don't have the same colours, you know.
Yeah.
So out in the desert, it's like a sandy colour, but they definitely have like a different colour from the front to the back, you know. So I don't know whether that's how they hide or they like blend into the background, or
Yeah, probably.
you know, like I'm not a super scientist, but like it doesn't take much to figure out. Like, yeah, that makes sense, you know.
Well, over thousands of years, I think things like that can evolve slightly differently. There's black dingoes in the rainforest that obviously want to hide in the shadows, so you don't get them anywhere else. You get the fawn-coloured dingoes everywhere else.
Yeah, that's it.
So you saw its tail?
Yep, tail, thick to thin, and always up.
Yeah, right. So standing up.
Yeah, like that, standing
Yeah,
up.
right.
So he's obviously facing the other way, but then like.
Wonder why that is. Maybe they spray to mark their territory or something.
I don't know. I mean, like maybe it's to protect the pouch. So like, say if you take a shit, then obviously that's going to wipe around maybe the area where your pouch is.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know.
Did you see teeth, or was it just running away so you didn't really get to see?
We didn't get to see. Although, like, I have seen photos of the tigers with their mouths open, and like it's a jaw like this, and like you look at the X-rays of the skeletons, and like it's not like a regular dog. It's like it's something that is made to chomp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very strong thing and very wide as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you talked? So since that happened, have you talked to anyone else who's seen one?
Not directly, but I've seen other interviews with people that have seen him before. And apparently, when they mate, they have a certain noise, much the same as like koalas do. You know how they kind of grunt and groan and do that sort of thing. They have a certain noise, so people have heard them.
Right.
I haven't met someone directly that has seen one, but I've seen interviews with people much the same as what we're doing here
Yeah.
that have seen it before, and it's kind of discouraging a little bit when like you listen to these people, like these mostly foreigners
Yeah.
that like totally dismiss the idea that they're extinct, and it's just like, oh, there's all these famous animals that are extinct. Dude, we know what we saw.
And you won't be told otherwise. Why would you?
All three of us saw it.
Yeah.
All three of us saw it. It was there.
That's awesome.
Dude, it blew my mind, and if anyone wants to argue with me, then go ahead.
Spewing you didn't have GoPros on the front of your bikes.
I know, like we all talked about this before, but like I think the thylacine should just be left alone, to be honest. I've had people contact me and just say, "Oh, where did you see it? What did you do? All this sort of stuff." I had one guy in particular that was trying to get like because we do have a pin mark of where we saw it, but I had to say, it's just like, well, what's your intentions? Like, what are your intentions to actually find this?
Yeah.
And I just didn't tell him.
Hanging on their wall and cash in on it, probably.
Yeah.
You think you'll ever go back there looking for it?
Nah.
No, don't want to see it.
No, they can just. As far as I can tell, that they're basically nomads, so then they'll keep moving anyway. So I'd be an idiot to go out there and try and find another one.
Yeah, 'cause it's
You know?
probably not going to be there.
It's just one of those things. I mean, like we just come across it, and it was just between 2,500 kilometers across the desert. I'm not saying you're bound to see one, but we were very lucky to see one. That's it.
Did you see any dingoes anywhere in that vicinity, like within a couple of hundred k's?
Oh yeah, there's heaps of dingoes out there.
Right.
Dingoes,
Because that's a theory that
emus.
dingoes wiped them out on the mainland because they're more adapt to kind of hilly and rainforesty areas, so they can hide in trees and hide in logs and stuff. So the ones that were on like the flat, deserty areas got wiped out pretty quickly by the dingoes when they moved in. So
Yeah, we
that's
saw.
cool. You saw it on flat ground.
Yeah, we saw plenty of
It means
dingoes.
They could actually be everywhere.
But see, that's the thing. I mean, like Flinders Ranges. I'm not sure if you've been there before, but like that is a very hilly area.
Yeah, right.
You know, so
Just kind of just outside.
8 k's out.
Right.
Yeah,
So it might go down there to get the roadkill and then bail back into the hills.
yeah. I mean, 8 k's in a day.
Yeah,
That's
easy.
not too much, you know. So I mean, I don't know. Like, just our experience was really amazing, and I'm just really happy to do that. And like I said before, if anyone wants to ask any questions, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, since you put your original sighting report up on Facebook, did you cop shit off people, or was it mostly positive?
Oh yeah,
like,
well,
I am going, that's awesome.
Yeah, well,
You're lucky.
Yes.
Or did you get idiots?
So like the smarter people that I do know, and you know, friends and family, I believe isn't even the word. They understand. They get it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it. I mean, the more uneducated people that don't have a geographical mind or haven't travelled a lot. I mean, I've done a lot of travelling, like almost too much.
Yeah.
You don't want to get me started on conspiracy theories and all that sort of stuff. Like,
No, I've had similar things. I saw something in Wollongong. It was either a Bigfoot or a panther, but it normal. And I've tried to tell people about it since, and they look at me like I'm talking about fairies or something.
Yeah.
And that just makes me think straight away, you're a bit ignorant then. You're just set in your ways, you go to work, you don't really think about much.
No, you're a lemming.
Yeah, and if you've got someone who doesn't normally lie to you in all the other aspects of their life, then why do all of a sudden you think they're lying about this one thing?
Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they just can't bring themselves to believe there's anything out there
No.
beyond the normal.
No,
There's actually
that's
a lot out there beyond the normal.
Oh, yeah, like,
And I think as time goes on, they will end up discovering all these things that are considered to be paranormal or supernatural or whatever. It's just science that we don't understand. Most of it, I think.
yeah.
Cool, thanks for that.
Anyway, no worries. Yeah, whoever's going to see this, then just take it on board. It's been great chatting, and this is the first interview I've had about this, but they're still there. They're great creatures. Don't go and hunt them. Don't try and be a person that's going to claim to fame, whatever. This is not my claim to fame. I just want to tell you guys.
You know what you saw.
I know exactly what I saw.
There's no going back on that.
I'm not an idiot.